That's what he said.
It connects.
Next, yeah, what?
Connects. It doesn't
You went all the way to Montgomery County, son?
You already got that far. What does a solenoid do? It connects
creates mechanical energy to electrical energy.
the other way around,
Electrical energy to mechanical energy
converts electrical into mechanical. How?
by passing iron through a magnetic field.
So part of the starter. You weren't here long enough to review your components, but there is a
The armature?
no. There's the
Or the commuter?
inside the spring. Then we have a mark.
The poles repel.
It's the shift fork. I don't even know why they don't even have it. I don't see anything in here that says shift fork. But
You said the what?
page 541, picture of your starter. Goes from the solenoid to the main body of the starter.
Mm-hmm.
Does everybody see like a shift fork in there?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what converts the electrical energy into mechanical energy.
What, the plunger? And the return spring?
No, the shift fork.
Talking
Plunger and
about-
return
talking about
spring.
That's that shit for right here.
Where's the shift for it?
It's got to be called something else, man.
Yeah, this right here, that's the shift fork. It goes from here to here. It's like a little fork that goes around there.
I thought it was, but there ain't no name on it. Something like that.
The blue thing?
That's the armature.
I know, that's what you
You're talking about
call
the
it.
commutator.
That's the shift folk.
The little piece, which where the
Those go right here.
Those right here. It
Come
actually
this
turns
way,
it.
right? I'm talking about this. That's the shift fork.
No, not the shit for
Hold up.
Commutator. Go back
We
here.
them boys.
Then you choose it around here. But there they go right there. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Agnew, continue.
And that goes to the alternator, right?
Alternator. Now, we're talking starter here.
Kind of.
Okay.
I know the two things when they connect, one of them they close after enough energy goes to the engine, right?
Goes to the engine? No, we're talking starter. Solenoid. When you get the power, when the plunger comes in and activates the solenoid, that's when power goes through to the motor.
Then turns the motor on.
Turns the motor on.
It cranks the motor.
Cranks the motor.
And then
And
disengage.
then the motor turns mechanical energy to electrical energy.
No, the solenoid does that. Solenoid,
DC energy to AC.
solenoid converts the electrical into mechanical. The motor does all the electrical torque.
Made it. Maybe made it.
What is the safety device in the starter motor?
What is it?
CEMF is a safety device, but that's wired. But we're talking a mechanical safety device built into the starter motor.
The EM,
Now,
the counter, EM app.
there is a mechanical safety device built into the starter motor.
The counter EMF.
Is it the contact finger?
Mechanical.
Is it
Counter
the...
EMF is electrical. It's a
You talking about
it's a
the
winding. Overrunning clutch.
Overrunning clutch?
Yeah.
Where?
It's right in there. 540.
Overrunning clutch. What does the overrunning clutch do? Don't tell me overruns.
No, you took my answer.
Hey, ho, I can't hear your question.
Keeps the starter running, spin, so we're going to carry out the flat wheel, so we catch the speed some more.
I can only hear half of what you're saying, but I don't think it's right.
In front of the starter, when the engine start to start, the flat wheel spinning on its own, the engine, we're trying to build up. Doesn't it, let the starter keep spinning, so we're going to lock up and that's going to keep it.
Sort of, yeah. What happens is the engine starts and is running 700 or 800 RPM. The starter's only running maybe 100, 150 RPM. And this overrunning clutch
Doesn't it pull back?
the overrunning clutch just allows that to spin fast. When it allowed to spin that 700 RPMs, rather than trying to spin the whole starter 700 RPMs and breaking your starter.
It only spins the clutch,
It only spins the
the overrunning clutch.
overrunning clutch.
Okay.
That front drive is part of the overrunning clutch.
As long as it when that
So
breaks.
this is right behind the gear, the little gear. on the
Yep.
side.
That is part of the gear. They
So
are
when it pushes it
together.
up, it just pushes it up, like that's that.
It's not that it pushes it up, it's part of the gear. That gear can spin in one direction all the time. And it's only locked when the motor is operating. And there's a difference between the motor and the engine. The engine of the vehicle is different than the starter motor.
As long as when that breaks.
Yeah, when it starts, the engine can spin freely and not turn the starter itself.
I know, but it doesn't do its job. We're just keep on spinning the brake.
Oh, if it doesn't do its job, it'll break it.
And then you get
You'll,
it.
what it does is generally doesn't break the drive. It generally breaks the housing.
Benji, you bust ass.
The housing will
Bust
bust
ass.
instead. That's
Nah, I let you know
because
though.
they
Alright.
use weak aluminum housings.
I'll let you know.
All right, how does the starter motor keep spinning to do its torque?
Move this in. It spins the opposite direction.
No. Sort of, yes.
The electrical energy that's built into the spin to the magnet.
He's got the right idea on two magnetic fields. It creates opposite magnetic fields.
So the EMF makes it go one way,
Right.
and then
so you get
the counter EMF makes it go the
the
other.
benefit of repulsion, which aids in its spinning.
When the armature begins to rotate,
That's voltage. And each one of these, let me grab an armature back here real quick.
there we go. You don't run out of tape.
Make them fall. If it don't go up, it don't go up.
You might turn the light on now.
Yeah.
Let there be light.
Each one of these commutator rings are insulated from each other. The opposite rings are the ones that are active. You'll have a positive and negative, and positive and negative. No, on the brushes. Remember the picture of the brushes here? See, we got 4 brushes. You'll have a positive and negative on opposite. Positive and
So
negative.
that's what draws, like keeps it in motion.
This
Keeps
is
it
what
rotating.
keeps your field rotating in opposites. So you get the repulsion that we're
There's
talking
a
about.
magnet in this.
It just makes it move, man.
Yep, that's all it does. Creates an electrical magnetic field.
But they don't
Magnetic
work.
fields
That only works
are
when
light.
you're
They don't work simultaneously. Like one cuts on to get it to one point, and then it moves to another point. But it happens so
It does.
fast to keep it moving. Right?
It does work like that because each one of these little lines are insulated.
Right.
So this one works, this one works, this one
Right,
works,
yeah.
and each one working fast creates the
Keep it
speed.
moving. Alright. Yes.
And this is your
That
overrunning
joint
clutch.
pushes up, yeah.
This is your overrunning clutch and starter drive. It's all one unit. And you'll notice that you can spin it one direction, but you can't spin it the other. So when it's active, you can't spin it, but when the engine overspeeds, it goes like that. So the engine can operate this faster.
And then when it's done, turn the car back on. It slides back.
This slides back and it rotates on centrifugal force
Okay.
to help pull it back, and it has a spring to help pull it back. So you have both. Yeah, we'll pass this around.
Mr. Flag, so
Yep.
for the starter,
Yeah.
When something's wrong with the starter, or for example, it's not getting enough juice to start, why is it then actually hitting the starter may cause it to actually work?
It doesn't have enough.
Oh,
power to
hitting,
turn on.
tapping the starter to have it
Yeah.
work. Because you're getting debris down in here, in this starter, and it is interfering with the connection between the brushes.
Gotcha.
This end plate is shorted out, right along in here.
Uh-huh.
So if you hit that starter, you disrupt the debris, and a starter will start.
Okay, then what about,
What that tells you is that the brushes are worn, you need to replace your starter.
so what about when you do a rolling start?
Rolling for a manual transmission,
Yeah.
you're not using this starter.
Yeah, using your gear.
Using the clutch, right?
Yeah, but it helps start it though.
The starter doesn't do anything.
Doesn't do anything.
Because you don't remember how when you pop it again and go, it's the same thing because it locks on and turns at the same
It
time.
doesn't use the starter at all.
Oh, I thought it did just to actually get it going. Like if
No,
it's
it's like
like if the
a
starter, for example,
stop
same
you.
problem, right? Instead of
Like
hitting
when-
it, you actually
when
just
that
do
wheel
it where
pops
you,
and like you still
Manual
moving, it
transmission,
turns
you're using the
engine.
gears,
So when you
the
turn
clutch
engine,
and the
you don't
gears
turn it.
to spin that engine over. You're not using the starter at all.
Okay.